I thought it might be a good idea to show you how to do some of the embroidery stitches that I've been using for my recreation of this embroidery on the Burrell jacket, so that you can have a go at doing it as well if you want to. The first stitch that I'm planning on showing you is the Detached Buttonhole stitch. It covers a lot of ground very quickly, and it also keeps all of the threads on the surface. I tend to begin with a strip of double running stitch, or it's also called holbein stitch, where you do the running stitch in one direction and then you just go back in the other direction, joining the dots. Sometimes for the leaves I do, then it's very, very narrow, and I then expand the stitches out from it, or sometimes it can start very wide and then taper in. Once you've got the running stitches done, it's a case of doing one big stitch from one side to the other side of the stitches. Then you come up a little way again from where you went down with the big stitch, and then it's a case of just doing blanket stitches where you go underneath the running stitch, or underneath whatever stitch it is that you've decided to use to start off with, underneath the big stitch, and then over the top of a loop that you've made with the thread that you're currently using to sew with. Once you've reached the end of your first row, you then do another big stitch to go back to the beginning of your second row, and then you go through the loop of the stitch on the row that you've done before. So you go underneath that loop, underneath the big stitch that you've done, and then again over the top of the loop that you've made with the thread that you're working, so that everything interlocks and it all comes out quite neatly. To start a different colour, that's all you need to do. You just start sewing with a different colour and you end up with a stripe. You can blend the colours, so you use the old colour as the big stitch across, and then you can use the new colour for the other stitches. And then to expand or decrease the width of the stitching, you then just sew your big stitch so that it's slightly larger or slightly smaller than your last row, and then you can always add little stitches in. Hopefully that was useful and it all made sense, and I will produce another video at some point showing you how to do the plaited braid stitch, which is what makes all of the gold swirls on the jacket.